Can a company really challenge Windows after Microsoft has controlled roughly 3 out of every 4 desktop computers worldwide for decades? Windows has dominated personal computers for nearly 40 years, but Huawei has spent about 5 years building a completely different operating system from the ground up. Now, that software is moving from phones to laptops, and a market with hundreds of millions of computers could be entering its biggest change in decades. In 2019, the United States placed Huawei on the Entity List, creating major restrictions on the company's access to American technology. At its peak, Huawei shipped more than 200 million smartphones in a single year. Then, new Huawei phones outside China lost access to Google's mobile services, including the Play Store, Gmail, and Maps. The hardware could still be powerful, but the software ecosystem customers expected was suddenly missing. A great camera does not help much when downloading everyday apps becomes a treasure hunt. The restrictions also exposed a larger weakness. Huawei's laptops depended on the wider global technology ecosystem, including foreign processors and software. The company had just learned that owning the brand and factories was not enough. If another company controls the most important technology underneath a product, that product is never completely independent. Huawei announced HarmonyOS in 2019, only months after the restrictions began. The first versions were not designed to instantly replace Android or Windows. They were the foundation for a larger ecosystem that could eventually run across phones, tablets, watches, cars, smart home devices, and computers. Building a new operating system is extremely difficult. It requires security systems, developer tools, hardware support, application frameworks, and years of testing. Huawei could either remain dependent on Android or spend years building an alternative. The company chose the second option. That decision eventually pushed HarmonyOS far beyond the smartphone market. The difficult part of an operating system is not the home screen. It is the thousands of systems underneath it. Huawei spent roughly 5 years developing its own software foundation, security systems, developer tools, and hardware support. HarmonyOS Next represented a major move toward a platform that was more independent from Android. That created a major problem. Android has millions of apps, while a new platform starts with almost nothing. Huawei's advantage was China's population of more than 1.4 billion people. If enough users adopt HarmonyOS, developers have a reason to build for it. More apps then attract more users. That cycle is how powerful operating systems are created. China is one of the world's largest computer markets, and Windows has been deeply connected to its businesses, schools, and government offices for decades. But international tensions have made dependence on foreign technology more sensitive. After Huawei experienced the consequences of losing access to American technology, reducing that dependence became much more important. Replacing Windows is difficult because companies rely on decades of software, databases, and internal systems. But the change does not need to happen all at once. Every time an organization buys new computers, there is a chance to choose something different. Over several years, millions of replacement computers can create a serious opening for HarmonyOS. Huawei does not need to replace every Windows computer immediately. Windows has a massive installed base, decades of software, and one of the world's largest developer ecosystems. Trying to defeat it globally in one move would be unrealistic. The smarter plan is to begin where Huawei already has strong hardware sales and a huge domestic market. One organization adopts HarmonyOS, developers create more applications, and the platform becomes more useful. Windows had roughly 40 years to build its position. Huawei is trying to build an alternative much faster by combining hardware, software, and a market of more than 1.4 billion people. Phones are easier to replace than business computers. A company cannot simply switch the operating system on 10,000 computers during a lunch break. Businesses depend on specialized software, printers, databases, security systems, and internal tools. That makes the boring details extremely important. Can HarmonyOS support Office software? Can it manage thousands of computers? Can it connect to everyday hardware? Can businesses trust its security and updates? Nobody changes an entire company because the desktop icons look nicer. The software has to work every single day. Microsoft has had decades to build relationships with businesses, developers, and hardware companies. Windows is connected to millions of applications and countless business systems. That creates a huge advantage that cannot be copied quickly. Huawei's advantage is different. The company already has a large hardware ecosystem and access to China's 1.4 billion people. A person using HarmonyOS on a phone could eventually use it on a tablet, laptop, watch, or car. That is the bigger strategy. Huawei is not simply building another computer operating system. It is trying to connect multiple categories of technology through one software platform. Huawei has spent years building telecommunications infrastructure across parts of Asia, Africa, the Middle East, and Latin America. That gives the company relationships with governments and large organizations that most new operating system companies do not have. For countries worried about depending too heavily on one foreign technology supplier, another option can be valuable. HarmonyOS could become part of a wider technology independence strategy. That does not mean countries will automatically switch, but the existence of another serious platform changes the choices available to them. Windows is not about to disappear. It still powers the majority of desktop computers around the world and has a huge advantage in business software. Microsoft has decades of experience, thousands of enterprise customers, and an enormous developer ecosystem. HarmonyOS faces serious challenges, especially applications. Users will not switch if the software they need is missing, and developers will not build for a platform with very few users. Huawei has to break that cycle. The difference is that Huawei already has hardware, money, users, and one of the world's largest domestic markets. There may never be one dramatic moment when Windows suddenly disappears. The change could happen gradually. Government departments adopt HarmonyOS. Businesses test it. Developers build more applications. New laptops arrive with the system. More users become comfortable with it. That is why Huawei's strategy matters. The company was pushed away from major technology ecosystems and responded by building its own. The first goal was survival. The next was independence. Now the ambition is to control the software connecting its devices, including computers. Windows may continue dominating for many years, but Huawei does not need to replace every Windows computer to become a serious competitor. It only needs enough users to create its own ecosystem. Huawei has spent roughly 5 years building the foundation. China has more than 1.4 billion people. The global computer market has hundreds of millions of users. Windows has had roughly 4 decades of dominance. Those numbers explain why this battle will not be decided by one product launch. It will be decided by scale, software, developers, government contracts, and time. Huawei is not trying to defeat Windows with one dramatic attack. The company is trying to make Windows less necessary. One device at a time. One organization at a time. One application at a time. And if that strategy works, Windows may not suddenly be killed. It may simply wake up one day and discover that a large part of the market has quietly moved somewhere else. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content.